M18 back in use with Air Force after investigation. Here we go, Sig again. Sig showing up again. M18 back in use with Air Force after investigation. The P320 series of guns has been in the news lately. Oh boy, has it. Particularly those used by the US military. Investigations ensued after the death of an airman involving one of the guns, which were immediately pulled from service. Well, the M18 is back in service, and another airman has been charged criminally in connection with the incident. We spoke to Sig Sauer to get their views on the situation. I think what I was afraid of is happening, chat. I think Sig actually is not responsible for this one. I think it was negligence and or homicide. Negligence and or manslaughter, I guess. And Sig is going to use that to say, hey, see, look, these were fine all along. The most major and horrible development in the P320 saga was the death of a US Air Force airman. Reports emerged in late July of a fatality incident at F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Wyoming. It was later confirmed that Airman Braden Loven died in an incident involving an M18. Rumors circulated widely online in wake of that incident. In early August, it was reported that another airman had been arrested in connection with the incident. The Air Force statement said, in part, quote, "The unidentified arrested person is accused of making a false statement, obstruction of justice, and involuntary manslaughter." Those charges suggest strongly that the stories circulating at the time about the gun being uncommanded, self-inflicted discharge were not correct. The Air Force Office of Special Investigations appears to still have an active case open. Involuntary manslaughter under the Uniform Code of Military Justice serves some examination. 10 U.S. Code Section 919, Article 119 manslaughter reads in part, "Be any person subject to this chapter who, with intent to kill or inflict great bodily harm, unlawfully kills a human being, 1. By culpable negligence, or 2. While perpetrating or attempting to perpetrate an offense other than those named in Clause 4 of Section 918 of this title, Article 118, directly affecting the person, is guilty of involuntary manslaughter and shall be punished as court-martial may direct." Article 118 deals with murder and attempted murder. So, 2, converted into plain text means, while committing a crime other than murder, thus involuntary manslaughter is the appropriate charge if the military member is either severely negligent or committing a non-murder crime and a death results. Without knowing more facts, we cannot say which of these situations the Air Force is alleging in this case. In the wake of Airman Loven's death, the Air Force took a new look at the M17/18. Air Force Global Strike Command, the part of the Air Force that handles nuclear missiles and strategic bombers, among other things, pulled the pistols from service to inspect every single one. You would think that SIG would do that in their quality testing for their military contract, but what do I know? Air Force Global Strike Command has now completed those inspections, and according to a public statement, the guns are now back in service. Sig Sauer posted a press release hailing this news. That press release famed the renewed issuing of Sig M18 as total vindication. Chat, I hate being right. I hate being right. They're taking this one instance of negligent manslaughter. Be like, yep, these guns have always been perfect and have never had a problem. The Air Force statement notes that 7,970 M18 handguns were inspected as part of this review, but it also notes that 191 pistols had discrepancies, which were most commonly component wear issues classified as problems with safety lever, strike assembly, and sear. It's a lot of pistols to have use for a pistol that hasn't been in service for very long. At least in part, these issues lead Air Force Global Strike Command to begin, quote, implementing enhanced inspection procedures for the M18 pistol. It goes to state that, quote, the command's basis will include additional inspection criteria for the areas where potential issues were found during the M18 pause. So in their investigation, they found almost 200 pistols with issues. And then Sig came out and was like, yep, total innocence. Our guns have always been perfect. I hate it here. I hate it here. Gecko, I still believe that they're framing someone to absolve themselves of a multi-million-dollar catastrophe. I hope not. But it wouldn't be the first time that the armed forces has done something reprehensible like that. We reached out to Sig Sauer for comment and spoke to Phil Strader, VP of Consumer Affairs at Sig. Not Phil again. The interview here. TFB, the Air Force found 191 individual M18s that had unexpected discrepancies, including wear marks on components of guns' internal safety mechanisms. Those weapons are being pulled out of service until repairs are completed. Does Sig Sauer have concerns about so many individual guns bearing unexpected wear marks? Strader, no. The USAF Global Strike Command, AFGSC, senior leadership assured Sig Sauer that the identified discrepancies did not affect the function or safety of the 191 individual M18s. Bro, what? So you're telling me that both the discrepancies don't affect the function or safety, but also that the 191 pistols needed to be pulled for maintenance? Interesting how that works. So there's no problem with them at all, but they better be sure to get the problem fixed. Oh. TFB, can you explain what may be causing these issues with the weapon? Strader. The statement provided does not explain or speculate the causation of the wear noted. It is possible that the 191 EA M18s mentioned could have been exposed to higher round counts or dry fire repetitions than the other 7,779 pistols. Additionally, it is unknown if these pistols were maintained according to the parts replacement schedule. This information has not been shared with Sig Sauer, but we are happy to assist the Air Force Global Strike Command in any way possible to help determine outlying factors that could have contributed to any additional wear. As with all products, wear and tear from normal use is expected. Sig Sauer reminds all its customers to review the recommended maintenance schedule in their respective product manuals. That is absolute corpo nonsense. That doesn't mean anything. This was a whole big paragraph where they said, they didn't tell us anything. I'm not going to tell you anything. We don't know. That's crazy. TFB, will Sig Sauer cover the costs of these unnecessary repairs? Oh, excuse me. These necessary repairs. So I got confused there because the repairs are both unnecessary but also necessary. Strader, Sig Sauer is currently under contract with the US military to provide M18, M17 pistols and support for the system. We will continue to work closely with the USAF Global Strike Command to ensure that all M18 pistols are properly maintained according to the contract's parts replacement schedule. Did Glock start their SIG trade-in program yet? I don't know if Glock has, but there are a few places that have said they're doing that. TFB. Is the company considering changes to the design or manufacturing processes of the M17/M18 given the findings for this review? Strader. The P320 M17 and M18 are the most proven pistols in history. Literal lies. And have never experienced any wear that would affect function or safety throughout our rigorous durability testing. The USAF confirmed that a review of weapon discharges in Air Force Global Strike Command showed that none were attributed to weapon malfunction. Bro, they're just lying now. They're literally just lying now. Literally, according to SIG's internal documentation, the P320 has issues and can fire when dropped or jostled. The most proven pistols in history. I trust that vaporware pistol that we talked about earlier more than a P320. And that vaporware pistol hasn't even had a single unit manufactured, but it is still more proven than the P320. The most proven pistol in history. May I direct you to 1911s, M9s, Glocks. Oh, no. Even if the P320 had a immaculate track record, it hasn't been around long enough to be the most proven pistol in history. It's ridiculous. We thank Sig Sauer for providing their comments. While this is unlikely to be the last page of the P320 story, I guarantee it's not the last page. The resumption of M18 use by Air Force Global Strike Command is a positive. Elsewhere, litigation continues, and there is still an animated debate online. Let us know the comments and what you think about all of these going on. I think I was pretty opinionated when reading the article. That's ridiculous. 2 comments. Sounds like someone accidentally ND'd while screwing around and tried to blame it on the pistol with a reputation for drop firing and the apparent belief that investigators wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I do think that this is most likely what happened, which would absolve Sig of this one specific situation. Not any of the other very well documented cases. The swirl still has a 2% failure rate. Regardless of what they say the damage is done, they should just release a new gun instead of the P320. That's what I've been saying. Like, the P320 is cooked. It sucks as a company. Scrap it. Make a new model. 2% failure rate. Chat, if you were buying a pistol and you knew that about 1 in every 50 was going to have issues, would you buy that pistol for a life-threatening situation that you may have to use it in? I know I wouldn't. 1 in 50, that's a pretty low chance. It's not worth it. Buy it for your enemies? Is that what the government is buying them for? Service members? Wait, hold on. But you wouldn't buy that gun for any serious use. A 1 in 50 is going to be bad gun. You don't buy for serious use. You wouldn't use that for defense. You wouldn't or shouldn't use that for anything military related. Expecting people to be okay with a 2% failure rate or a 2% blem, 2% not good gun rate. First of all, most proven pistol in history, 2% of them are bad? No. And also, no one would trust that in an emergency situation or any kind of serious situation. I don't know who Sig learned their professional level gaslighting from, but they should teach a class. This is ridiculous.